Good morning, Oxnard. My name is Evelyn Garcia, and I'm your host for the new Good Morning Oxnard show on KDTV. Today we are broadcasting from Hank Lacayo's La Hermandad on 8th Street in downtown Oxnard. Today our guest is Alicia Flores, the executive director of the organization. Good morning, Alicia.
Good morning, Evelyn.
So we're going to start off with thank you for letting us use this space. We are really thankful for it. And we also want to ask you, just for the audience who doesn't know, who Hank Lacayo was.
Well, Hank Lacayo was a leader working for the Union for the Laborers. And he always was concerned for the laborers to be treated with dignity. And also in the whole community at large from the minorities, immigrants. So he was a person with a big heart that he also helped not only the minority, but also he gave a lot of advice to some of politicians from different places, not only locally, but in other states. So he always worked for the benefit of the community. That's what his concern and his mission always look for the better of each person.
He sounds like someone that has a big heart.
Yes, he did have a big heart, and I'm sure that he's still taking care of us from heaven.
Yeah. How did La Hermandad get started? Was it your idea, Hank's?
It was my idea. I used to work for a nonprofit, and I was very limited to what I could do for the community. But since I'm immigrant also, I know how our immigrant community struggles coming to a new country, a new culture. So this was the reason why I have more to give to the community. So I said, I think it's time for me to move on and create a new organization locally. So I asked for Hank's advice, like a lot of them I was telling you that they asked for their advice, and let him know what my plans were. And he liked the idea, but I also said, well, I have one more thing to ask, if we can carry his name. And he just laughed, like he liked that idea, but he's humble about it. So, but he agreed. So I was very pleased to have his support, but also his name. And that's one of our concerns, to always have his name as how he deserves.
And to have such a wonderful, warm human being that was inspiring, kind of keeps you motivated and reminds you.
Yes, he teach me a lot of things and gave me discipline. And he also asked me one day, I remember, I never forget that he asked me, and do you know how to say no? And I say, yes, I have 5 children and I have to learn to say no. And also when he used to come to the organization in the lobby, there's always people waiting to be helped, and he always introduced himself, and he also let them know that he also lived in Mexico in kilometro 500 or 50, something like that. He always used to mention and said, and he was very proud to say that he also lived in Mexico. He was born in the United States, but he was deported. And then that's the reason why he lived over there, and then came back on his adult years and enjoyed the military, and then from there he started doing his work.
Yeah, he just sounds like an amazing human, because he did so many big things and was still humble, made himself very relatable to the community, and even being in this room, you feel his warm presence.
Yes, he always will call everybody, you're my niece, or you're my, always trying to be part of the family, everybody. Yeah. And like I said, always giving advice. And he was so knowledge of of everything. So it was a lot to learn from him.
Yeah. Just in case for those community members who don't know or may need this resource, what services does La Hermandad provide?
Mainly, the organization is accredited by the Department of Justice and myself. That means that we can give legal advice on the immigration law. So that's what we do. We help the community to get out of the shadows, to become U.S. citizen, and to unite the families that have been separated. We do waivers, consulate process, everything that has to be with the immigration law, we do it here. We prepare the community they want to apply to become a U.S. citizen to pass their exam, their civic exam. We have classes in the mornings, in the evenings, and at 4 o'clock. So we have 3 different schedule, and one of those classes it's in Spanish because there's people that have an exam of the exam. They can do their exam in their own language, Spanish or whatever their first language is. And so that's the reason why we have them in Spanish and the others in English. So mainly we focus on that, and also we've been advocating for an immigration reform. The reason why we see people here in the office every day that they have children that are U.S. citizens, and they say, well, I've been waiting for 21 years to have my residency. And it's so sad to give them a bad news that if they enter with that document, they cannot adjust here or in their country. So this is the reason why we continue advocacy for an immigration reform.
Yeah, and some people just don't understand how hard it is to become a citizen.
Yes, there's like in our community, not everybody, but the majority, they're agriculture workers. That it's a very hard work. So they get up early in the morning, they get late at home, and then they have their children and everything. So it's hard for them to go to school to learn English, and that's something that they are very criticized because they've been living here for so long and they haven't learned English, which is the language of this country. But they need to understand how hard their work is, and that's the reason why they can. Or some of them, they never had the opportunity to go to school in their own country, so it's harder for them to learn a second language. And so this is the reason why we have classes here, ESL classes, so they can pass their exam in English. And we have 99.9, the people that come here to our classes, they pass their exam in English. They are so amazed to see that they were able to pass, because they come here and I say, they want to renew their green card. I say, why are you paying to renew your green card when you can become a U.S. citizen? And they say, well, I don't know English. I don't think I can pass the exam. And I say, yes, you can do it. We're going to help you here. The English, they need to know, it's very basic. So they come and they pass, and they're so happy after they receive their certificate of a U.S. citizen. And those are the blessings that we receive, because I see how happy they get.
And a lot of it's fear. Like, my mom was scared to take her citizenship test because she didn't get to go to school at like 12, 13. She was already waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. to go work in the fields. So when it came to it, it was like, I don't know English. I don't have an education. I had to sit there with cards and teach her. So it's amazing that you're doing that for the community as well.
Yes, that's what I said, that a lot of them, they say, no, I cannot pass the exam. I don't know English. But I encourage them, and I give them, that they can do it. And most of them, they do listen, but some of them, just a very few, they said, no, I don't just want to renew it.
They're so hardworking people, and they're very intelligent. It's just from not knowing English, they're insecure about it, but it's amazing, and most of them can do it. They've been here. They know more than they think they do because this is their country.
Exactly, and that's something I let them know. We're never gonna speak the perfect English. We're always gonna have an accent because it's our second language, and so I said even some of the officers from USA, they're from different countries, and they have an accent when they speak English. So I said you don't have to speak the English as a person that was born here and it's their first language. Don't take out of your mind, you're never gonna do it. So just make yourself understand and understand what they're asking you.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. And now that we've talked about the organization, like you being an amazing human that you are, I want to know more about you. Tell the community about yourself.
Like I said, I'm from Mexico. I was born in Ciudad Obregón, Sonora. It's part of the north. But my roots come from Jalisco, from Guadalajara. My parents are from Guadalajara, were from Guadalajara, Jalisco. They already passed to a better life. And so my mother always wanted to come to the United States, but I don't know what was the reason. They stopped in Ciudad Obregón, and that's where I was born. And then years later, they were able to cross the border. And so I went to school here. I always live in the Colonia area since like for 40 years. I went to school here. I work in the agriculture also when it was vacation or Saturdays and Sundays. And so I struggle. I remember my mother used to ask me to go places to translate for her, and I was just a little kid, and it was hard for me. But those are the needs that our community has or had in the past, that it was harder to find somebody that would speak Spanish, like back in the late 60s. And so those are the struggles that we live, my parents and I, we first came here. And so, but my mother, she was Catholic, teaches to be Catholic, and always always serve instead of receiving. So that's something that my mother teaches. She would sell tacos outside the Guadalupe church every Sunday. We used to help her prepare and then sell. And so she would do it so that she could pay the tuition of a lot of students. They want to become priests. So she would do it for that. And so she always teaches that to give, to serve. So probably if it's in my genes or how she was, she teaches how we were brought up. But that's something that I always like to do. It's in my heart, and I do it because, like I said, it's in my heart. I want to do it, and it's just something.
Yeah,
it's in me.
So it seems
thanks
like
to my mother.
Yeah, you've always been surrounded by amazing role models. Your mother, Hank.
Exactly.
Is that what inspired you to get involved, or you yourself felt a need in the community?
I think it's both. That I was surrounded with good people. They teach me, and also that it's in my heart. I guess God gives us everybody a mission, and I always ask God, what's my mission? I guess this is my mission. This is where He has me. A lot of people said, how can I do the job that I do with my limited English? And so it's God that have me here and give me the knowledge, and I'm just here, to do God's willing. So
yeah, and you're doing amazing work.
Yes, it's I get tired.
Yeah.
I get stressed, everything, all the feelings. But like I said, my mission and my responsibility is the community. I do what I do because of them. It's like I don't know how to say it, that if I'm sick or if I'm tired, or like I used to get paid salary and I could easily not come to work, but it's not the money, it's my responsibility with the community. I know what they need. I know, they expect me to do my work so they could be better. So so it's everything.
Yeah. Just to ask you, what has been one of the best experience working here? I know you've gone through a ton of heartbreaks, ton of stories, but what has been one that still reminds you and keeps you motivated sometimes?
Like I said, it's every day, every case, everybody is important, every history. But one that I always remember, it was this lady. She lives in Ventura, or lived in Ventura. She was like in 45 or older, probably older. But her voice was like a little girl. And she have over 30 years living here in the United States without documents. She was a victim of domestic violence and was married to a U.S. citizen. When she came, I was asking her a question, and I find out what I'm telling you. So I said, well, you're eligible to apply for domestic violence. It's called BAWA. And so I told her, and she couldn't believe it. And I said, all you need is this, and that. They need a statement of what they went through with that domestic violence. So I struggled a lot with her because she was depressed. She didn't have the strength to write a statement of what she went through, and it's hard. Those cases is hard to help them because they go in a cycle.
Yeah.
And so, but finally we were able to do it. She received her green card. She was crying, and she was so grateful. And it was many years, 30 years that she had seen her mother. So she went to go see her mother. And then she came back, and she brought me a lady of Guadalupe from Mexico City, and that's the one I have in my office. But the most amazing was that she changed her voice. How totally she changed on her attitude, on everything. She didn't, and I said, I don't want to hear you talking like a victim. You're not a victim.
You're a survivor.
Yes. And so her voice was not like a little girl. So that's one of many stories that I have seen in the 20 years that I've been doing this.
She was set free. She was able to see her mom, get her life back, her strength, because she had been fighting this battle for who knows how long. That's amazing. That is a great story.
Yes, it is. And so some people, they go into my office and they ask me about, and I said, everything that is in this office are little gifts that the person are so grateful that they bring it to me once they are able to go back to their country or Mexico.
Yeah.
And so that's how.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being here today. It was amazing talking about La Hermandad, your story. Like, I am inspired by it. It's just awesome. Thank you all for tuning in. Let us know what you think. Remember to subscribe. We'll be having more amazing people like Alicia on this show. Give us a like, and thank you for listening to our story.